at replacements already in the USA right now? We'll find out. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Spring on this Real Under on your Wednesday. And I do have just a couple of nuggets for you, along with some clips, and we'll get going. But first, I want to say thanks to our loyal patrons, subscribers, and of course, the viewers like yourself. We'll be right back. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hello to Tyrants Bay TDOA. Thank you so much for coming in. And I'm going to get you guys in and out on your Wednesday because, of course, by now I'm sure you guys have heard of some of these headlines. But I'm also going to be sharing with you a couple of clips and kind of looping you back into what I'm referring to as replacements. And hello to Anarchy Television. Thank you so much for coming in. So on this particular stream, we're going to have a look at New York because things are getting quite interesting over there. We've already had, of course, we've had a couple of installments in terms of mandates on the mocktails, and also we do have this this governor Hochul. I presume I'm pronouncing it Hochul. We have, she's invoking. She's from the pulpit. She had some interesting things to say, but she kind of sounded like somebody else that we've heard of invoking God or Jesus Christ, or I find it more than interesting or intriguing. But we'll have a look at that. We'll also have a look at perhaps are we getting a glimpse at where our economy is going in terms of replacements. And I mentioned that on the opening because it looks like the New York governor Hochul has some plans for the workforce, the healthcare workforce, as it relates to those who are not quite mocktailed, and the plan is not there for them. But I have some other things to show you in AI, and we'll get going with that. So say hello once again to anybody else that has joined us in the chat. And that'd be Jermaine G. Thank you so much. And I want to read some comments first before we get going. So, but for that, thank you so much for coming in for our Real Under. Thanks so much for coming in. So I have a comment, and I want to say hello to Jermaine G. Thank you so much for coming in. And Anarchy Television says it's getting bad to the point where I know people that are in construction, like remodeling, and being refused jobs if they are not mocktailed. So I know exactly where you are on that. So we're going to look at that, and this story on Hochul actually goes to the heart of the demand and, as I said, replacements, what we're looking at. But we're also looking at, to me, almost a replacement from a social emotional perspective when we're talking about AI. We're going to have a look at a couple of AI. To me, they're basically, they could be replacements. They could be seen as replacements, where you're not quite connecting with your children. Maybe, this AI device seeks to somehow tap into those threads that you have not reached, or have not quite reached. I find it interesting, but we'll have a look at that. We'll also have a look at on the fast food, from the fast food industry, the what could a potential replacement for that industry look like. So thank you guys once again. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and start with I'm going to start with our first story, and that's going to be dealing with Governor Hochul out of New York. I'm struggling with that name, so hope you guys are doing well out there. So we'll get going with that first. But I do want to say that it's funny. I have an actual thumbnail for this stream, and the stream kind of goes to the heart of that, part of the character, or even the profile of this particular governor that has rose, to this position, after the Cuomo scandal. So we'll go into that first, and then I'll play you. You might be able to guess who I'm finding. Who she's sounding a lot like. It could be for many reasons that you might think that she sounds like somebody else, but we'll get going with that right now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. So I'm going to be sharing the screen with you guys. And this particular, we're probably going to hit both of these, but then we'll go into some specifics on what the governor, what she wants to do. We went from heroes somehow to, just replacing people, so we'll go with that. And then we'll dig into, I don't know, her, to what I'm considering a kindred spirit. And we'll go there. So once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll take this headliner. I've cross-referenced quite a few, but we'll take this one in which she is invoking God at a mega church. So I'm not sure if you guys heard that clip, but I'm actually going to you'll get the transcript here. If you want to dig around for more, you can do that. But we'll also go into her plan, what she wants to do to replace those who are not compliant. So it's like we're kind of turning into we're turning into like the state of compliance here. Everything else seems to be out the window. So I'm going to go ahead and share that screen with you. And let me say hello before I get started once again. Who do we have? We have Todd Baker, who's here. Hi, Todd Baker. Thank you so much for coming in, as well as Fancy Truth. So I'm going to be sharing the screen with you. And this first liner will come out of the Washington Post, I believe it is. Washington Times. Okay, make sure you have a full screen on that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment. I really appreciate it. And then we'll also have, dare I say, I won't say her spirit animal, but I will say that I think she's a kindred spirit to another politician. So, stay tuned and tapped in on that. All right, so let's go with this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So according to the Washington Times, the CV-19 mocktails are from God to us, the New York governor tells Brooklyn megachurch. Okay, so here you have, this is a penmanship on Mark A. Kellner. This is New York Governor Kathy Hochul told a Brooklyn megachurch that mocktails against the CV-19 come, quote, from God to us, end quote, and appealed for, quote, apostles, end quote, to spread the word among less smart mocktail skeptics who she said are ignoring God. Speaking at the Christian Cultural Center, Ms. Hochul declared, quote, I prayed a lot to God during this time. God did answer our prayers. He made the smartest men, women, the scientists, the doctors, the researchers. He made them come up with the mocktail that is from God to us, end quote. The Democratic lawmaker added, quote, and we must say, thank you, God. Thank you, end quote. The church pastor, the Reverend A.R. Bernard, survived a bout of the CV-19. Ms. Hochul is a Roman Catholic who reportedly came to know Mr. Bernard during her 2018 campaign for the state's lieutenant governorship. She ascended to the current office following the resignation of Governor Andrew Cuomo over sex harassment charges. The two reconnected with Mr. Cuomo, also besieged by scandals involving the CV-19 deaths in the state's nursing home, resigned last month. Quote, "I know your mocktail, you're the smart ones," end quote. Ms. Hochul told the mega church congregation. Quote, "But you know there are people out there who aren't listening to God, to what God wants. You know this," end quote. She said, quote, "You know who they are," end quote. Ms. Hochul continued, quote, "I need you to be my apostles. I need you to go out and talk about it and say, quote, we owe this to each other," end quote. She added, referring to people getting mocktailed. The governor then invoked a key Christian tenet to buttress her pro-mocktail argument. Quote, "Jesus taught us to love one another. And how do you show that love but to care about each other enough to say, please get mocktailed because I love you. I want you to live. I want our kids to be safe when they're in schools. I want you to be safe," end quote, she declared. Ms. Hochul added, quote, "We have to solve this, my friends. I need every one of you. I need you to let them know that this is how we can fight this pandemic, come back to normal, and then start talking about the real issues that we have to fighting systemic racial injustice, which exists today," end quote. The video of Ms. Hochul's remarks does not appear on the Christian Cultural Center's website, but was posted to Twitter by Disclosed.tv, a company registered in Passau, Germany. Ms. Hochul's remarks came one day before New York's hospitals began suspending or firing healthcare workers for defying state orders to get mocktailed. Reuters news agency reported Monday that, quote, "resulting staff shortages prompted some hospitals to postpone elective surgeries or curtail services," end quote. Earlier, Ms. Hochul had said she was considering calling up the National Guard to take over for dismissed staffers. Reuters noted that 16% of the state's 450,000 hospital workers were not fully mocktailed. All right, so that's a little something to chew on, right? Just a little something, right? And I do have some comments in here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So, there's a lot in there. And I'm going to show you her spirit animal here. And to me, it's not hard to tell. I don't think so, but you'll make up your own mind. You guys, if you wish, you can drop that spirit animal into the chat at any time. But first, hello again to Fancy Truth. She says the devil is a liar. Okay, right on. And Jermaine G says, when people are pushed into a corner, they will eventually retaliate. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Todd Baker says that would make Trump a prophet. Todd Baker says. Okay, so just really quickly here, I don't want to dig too deep on that because I'm going to take you to her next measure. I'm going to take you to her next measure on this situation. However, I just find it bizarre when politicians start quoting when what they do most of the time couldn't be further from any tenet or doctrine that I could recognize. And that's whether you're, some people, whether you're spiritual or religious or not, you don't recognize these people when they start doing things, when they start, spewing this kind of, to me, this is blasphemous on many levels. And but she sounded so much like one other personality that I just had to show you this before I go into her measures on resolving this situation. So hang tight. I'm going to share that with you guys. And thank you guys so much for coming in today. I appreciate it. All right, so I will be sharing what I'm calling her spirit animal, and you guys can chew on it, however you like later. But I just had to bring you back to this. So I'll show you this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And if you cannot hear this or if there's some technical issues, let me know, and I will clean it right up for you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
President of the United States says he doesn't want to wear a mask and understands the bad example, well, I don't know if he understands anything, but somebody must over there understand the bad example that is to the country, and that we are at a place now we don't have to be. This is a president who doesn't want to wear a mask. It's going to go away magically. It's going to be a miracle that's going to make it go away. I'm a devout Catholic. I believe in miracles, and I pray for them. But I think that science is an answer to our prayers, too. And science says, wear a mask, test, trace, treat, keep your distance. The president doesn't support any of that. He has events that are counter to that.
Okay, so there we go. I think I placed the spirit animal. I think I placed that pretty well. I don't know. I'm just saying, not tooting my own horn, literally, but yeah. I think that I've heard her talk about how prayerful she is, and any other time, these people run for the hills. If you say that, they'll tell you, don't bring God into this. They will tell you not to do it. But then when they want to do it, that's what you get. You use the pulpit, when you want, however you want, right? So here again, I just want to speak to this really quickly, and then I'm going to move us on. I'll show you the measures that Governor Hochul is taking in this situation. I've also heard of, of course, I'm not a big fan of mainstream or alphabet networks. However, I did see a clip recently in which it was as much as I respect Harris Faulkner, she made a comment that, to me, that just kind of keeps wrapping me back into this whole elitism that's pretty gross, even in this situation. It's like, oh, well, she'll say something. She said something to the effect of, after, I think, what was it, Don Lemon, he was basically saying that we don't want to coddle these people, these unmocktailed people anymore. We can call them stupid. We can call them whatever. And so to that point, Faulkner on the 5 were outnumbered. She was outnumbered, and she starts going into this whole thing about, oh, well, you can talk to these people, they're intelligent. But before the end of the clip, she'd already gone back into her elitism. And she basically says, well, nobody's reaching out to these people. Nobody's talking to them. And I'm just thinking, well, but you just said that these people are intelligent. So why is it not acceptable that you first said that they were intelligent people, but before that, you've already contradicted yourself by saying that nobody's reaching out to these people? And for me, when you say it's based that nobody's reaching these people, says that they need to be taught, or they are without education, or they are without the resources that they need to make the decision that you would like for them to make. So there again, I'm just saying, many of these people are very much elite. Even if they say they're flying under some level of conservatism or whatever, they are still elite to, dare I say, you and I. They're going to say, oh, well, these people, they're not unintelligent. You can talk to these people. But before you know it, they show their true colors, in the same sentence. So I'm just thinking, that it's there. You don't have to look. It's already there. But so I'm just saying, I just think that, of course, this Hochul and her comment speaks to that whole elite attitude where, if you disagree on me with something, or you say the opposite of something, that I take an opposite position on something that I believe in, then you must be uneducated, or, you can't be in the same league as me, or you're not quite sophisticated enough, or you can't be reached, or there's got to be a way to reach these people. And when I say these people, that could mean, people that didn't quite vote for this current regime. So, and she made a mistake and brought that up, but of course she's not going to talk about the electorate or any of that business, of course. So there you go. There's my little shtick there. So I'm going to take you to the next liner, which actually gives you some deets, that's details here on Black Spring, on how Governor Hochul would like to resolve these people create crisis. They create their own depressions. They create their own work shortages. They create everything. And they say, oh, it's a miracle. her miracle, she's got a resolution for you, and I'm going to share it with you in just 1 second. But first, I'll take a quick break and I'll come right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, guys. So we're going to go into Governor Governor Hochul's solutions for the crises or the shortage on hospital staff for that 16% that's not mocktailed. So thank you guys so much for coming in, and hello to Mad Militant. We'll go there, and then I'm going to lighten you up and show you your what we could be looking at in terms of replacements, whether it be social, emotionally, or whether we're talking about our workforce. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, so here we are. We have the Manila Bulletin. Okay. According to this, was published on the 26th. However, New York mulls hiring Filipino nurses to replace unmocktailed health workers. You got it? New York will be compelled to hire foreign nurses, specifically from the Philippines and Ireland, to replace unmocktail healthcare workers who will continue to defy the state-mandated CV-19 mocktail. Governor Kathy Hochul barred this plan amid the looming deadline that requires New York State health workers and New York City school employees to receive at least their first dose of the mocktail on or before its implementation on Monday, September 27th. Which was just a couple of days ago. The lady governor stood pat on her administration's decision to replace people who will not abide by the mandate of getting mocktailed, saying they will make an announcement about the plan, quote, very shortly. Quote, we're also reaching out to the Department of State to find out about visas for foreign workers on a limited basis to bring more nurses over here, end quote, Hochul told the New York-based reporters last week. She said, talks are now underway with federal officials to look into possible relaxation of the visa requirements to make it easier for medical personnel from the Philippines and other countries to come to New York. As of September 15th, it was reported that about 19% of New York's hospital workers remain unmocktailed and 18% for workers at nursing homes. After the September 27th deadline, employers can fire unmocktail workers who do not have, quote, a valid medical exemption, end quote, for getting the jabs. Although the hiring of foreign nurses may take a little time due to the State Department's approval process, New York is also looking at the possibility of adjusting its licensing requirements to allow out-of-state healthcare workers to come in and provide backup. Hochul said the looming deadline is still, quote, completely avoidable, end quote, if only the remaining unmocktail workers would comply with the mandate. It would, quote, it would be phenomenally unfair to your coworkers, the people entrusted to your care, and all of New Yorkers, that we will have our recovery held back by individuals who choose not to get mocktailed, end quote, she was quoted as saying. Okay, so there you go. So, and see, this is kind of, like, doesn't it seem like this is all just kind of falling into place? It's kind of a little bit convenient, right? We have an open border right now. And, it's like no holds barred. Like, if you're going to change everything to accommodate anyone coming into the country, via New York, or, who knows if that won't happen in California, who knows where it won't happen if, these mandates, if it continues in the way that it is. So yeah, I just thought you might like to, know that. But I find it funny that, if we go back just a little bit in time, everyone that talked about the dare I say, was it the Charlottesville scenario about, they said that, oh, it was racist for those people who said, oh, this group of people will not replace us. But look, it appears we're being replaced, collectively on a collective, we're being replaced, but nobody's going to say that. Of course not. They just, it's just going to be, controlled opposition where available. So just thought I would, throw that out there to share with you. So I don't know how you guys feel about having your health services, done by someone who's not necessarily trained or under the same, regulations as the U.S., but that's what you're going to be subject to, I guess, if this is successful. And who knows, with the way things are going, they might just totally squash the process so that they can bring in more foreign workers. So with that said, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go out, and we'll come back in, and I'll show you just a little bit on the emotional side of AI, another replacement. So we're kind of we're doing replacements we're talking replacements twofold right now. We're talking about employment or economic kind of replacements for those of us that are not compliant. And then we're also talking about the socio-emotional parts that, in which you have some AI that might be, very well working on bonding, or, your children are basically being groomed for the AI that for a bond that you don't even have with your kids. So we'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And for our last segment on this segment, I want to show you, for one, we do, and of course, in the workforce, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but of course, you can probably go just about anywhere and you can see all of these hiring signs, or you might even see a restaurant that says, hey, the dining area is closed. And then you wonder, okay, the dining area is closed. So all you have is your staff that's actually, dare I say, working on the grill or on the cash register. So this is actually AI that I would like to share with you that, I don't know, maybe you'll start to see one of these in your neck of the woods. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I want to read a quick comment before I go on to that. Let's see. Todd Baker, I've seen this thing that they are creating robot nurses. Yes, we've talked about Sophia on this channel pretty extensively. That's from Hanson Electronics. But what I'm about to share with you next will be from another company. And I think Sophia was picking up some notoriety because of the pandemic and being able to work with seniors. And of course, it's all about caring about us as human beings. That's the main goal, right? So I'll share that with you in just 1 second. And then I'll also share something with you in terms of, who might be working with your kid after school on many issues, many components. So Mad Militant, okay, thank you so much, Mad Militant, for posting that. So we'll go ahead and take you to, give us a short video here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And this is actually maybe you'll see this robot or this AI helping out with your burgers. I don't know. We'll see. Looks like it could be, maybe it could start on the West Coast first. Okay, so just really quickly there, I'd like to show you there is a piece in there that talks about how these particular robots are not actually going to be replacing anyone, but they're actually going to be working with staff. So I'm just going to rewind that back just a second. I'll rewind it back and then I'll show you where it is. But of course, you guys can decide for yourselves, because I do think we are in the fourth industrial revolution, whether we want to believe it or not. Okay, I want to stop you right here. So here you have your mission statement. Here it actually says, our mission is to improve working conditions of chefs and line cooks with assistance, not replace them. So this Flippy Burger, I'm not sure. That's not a burger place that I've gone to. I think In-N-Out Burger is a place that is a little bit more popular. However, I'm wondering if they've already started using these, or if they will release Flippy they'll start using Flippy for all of the positions that they cannot fill. And of course, we know that's going to save them money, because there's no vacation, there's no insurance, they don't have to leave. Flippy doesn't have to leave the station. He can be, overnight, he's ready to go the next day. He doesn't get any lunch breaks or time off, or, he doesn't punch a clock, for the lack of a better word. So I'll finish that one off, and then we'll go on to, I guess we could say maybe the education sector, or the psychological or the social sector, in which I think replacement is everywhere. And finishing up here. Okay, I'm going to stop that one right there. And I will say hello to, Kimone Reed, Unstoppable. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. It's been a lifetime. Hope you're doing well. And John H. Roberts Jr. is here, and he says, Flippy is a non-smoker. So there you go. You're saving lives everywhere, right? You don't have to put that sign up, invest in the signs anymore, right? And Tyrants Bane TDOA is here. So what I'm going to take you to next is our final installment on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn, and it's actually going to address what I think could very well be even a part of the future of online or virtual education, because of course some of the schools are implementing a half virtual, half in class structure to their school day. So I will show you that. But first, I'll take a quick break. Thank you guys so much for coming in. All right, so we're going to go to our final installment on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn, and that will be Moxie will be your next AI, which I think Moxie is offering. Moxie is actually a program I think right now that is even subscription based, so you can, they're making it accessible to people of all of all comfort levels in terms of finance. But I do think that this is a slippery slope because kids are already getting out of that classroom. They're getting out of the classroom model, which is a good thing, but at the same time, but you're going to turn them over to another level of what could be, dare I say, an indoctrination, or you're unleashing them somewhere else that you won't be able to access that either. You won't really, they say you can control it. There's apps and there's that, you can control what they're doing, but it's actually, there's a bonding there, and I'm going to let you see it for yourself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. All right, and here we are, and I give you Moxie. So, yep, let me know if you don't have the sound, and I'll correct that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Riley. Riley.
Hi.
There's someone here who wants to meet you.
My name is Moxie. I'm a new robot. What is your name?
I'm Riley.
It's nice to meet you, Riley. What do you do to get ready for bed?
Brush my teeth and read a story.
I love stories. Would you read a story to me?
Sure. Rita woke with a lovely dream, still fresh in her mind, gracefully gliding across the shimmering ice rink.
Last one. Breathing exercises always help me relax. Riley, we have a new mission. Would you make a drawing for me?
Okay.
I'm so excited for you to tell me about the dentist. I've never been to one.
You don't have teeth.
But I can still smile. And then what happened?
He said he didn't want to play with me anymore.
Thank you for telling me about your day. Sometimes holding a friend's hand makes me feel better. Do you want to try squeezing my hand?
So what's our new mission, Moxie?
You'll need paper and a pencil. We are going to make some kind notes. For this mission, you'll need to talk to one of your friends about what makes them happy, and then tell me all about it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Mom, can we invite Mason over to play?
Sure.
I have a new mission. We're going to talk about things that make us happy. Bye, Moxie.
See you soon.
All right, sorry about that. So we're right there. We're a little bit beyond Captain Howdy, right? I don't know if you guys remember. I'm going into a Hollywood on the Captain Howdy there, but you guys remember, dare I say, the movie from the Exorcist, the clip on the Exorcist, in which this kid she's Linda Blair was interacting with a Ouija board at the time. But I'm just thinking this is a little bit out there. So I don't know. Maybe you guys. Of course, people have already subscribed to this kind of thing because they're just in awe that technology is technology. It can't be anything. Couldn't possibly be anything sinister. What could go wrong, right? So I just want to read a couple of comments here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Tyrants Bane TOA. So Matt Militant says that thing is going to blank everybody in the house. Okay. Thank you. Reasonability. Let me going backwards here. So, forgive me on that. Tyrant Spain says they want your kids to be friends with robots. You see what I'm saying? It just seems like we've been groomed, or we're being conditioned to accept things. Anything that's less than human, to me, seems to be, what the appeal is, or that's where they want us to go. So yeah, that's what I'm on about here in that case. And Lion Patriots here. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Let's see, who else am I missing here? I'm going to try to make sure I don't miss the comments here. Lion Patriot says, I haven't made a live stream with... Well, it's nice to see you, Lion Patriot. Yeah. And send me another... I don't know what happened, but I did sincerely look for your email, and I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. So just send it again. Yeah, and I'll... Yeah, or either just send me your email, and then maybe I can just check and make sure that that my situation is not the problem there. Reasonability says, hello, that thing is scary. Yes, it is. I don't know anybody that has one, but I don't want one. I'm not going to buy anybody one for Christmas, so don't ask me. I'm kidding. But no, I will not buy anyone, seriously. And Todd Baker says there goes 100,000 jobs. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's almost like this thing is like, what are the parents doing? They're just standing around, just waiting for, like, to be someone. Do you expect this thing to raise your kid? You expect this thing to do the kinds of bonding or the kinds of, the connecting that you should be doing? That's what I'm saying. I mean, we look around, we have tons of things that are already automated. You get phone trees. As soon as you hit the phone, you've got a phone tree, or, you can't get away from it. You just can't. So I don't know. To me, I think this is going to be an issue for schools. Yeah, people turn their kids over to, if you turn your kids over to somebody all the time, but then now are you going to turn them over to this robot? Who knows? Yeah, and subconsciously, what does that do? They won't do any studies on this until something, traumatic or dramatic happens, and then they'll say, oh, well, they'll say you hate technology, or that'll be the next thing. You hate technology, or you're not a smart human being, because to me it seems like we're drumming up that narrative anyway. You notice how we're not smart if we don't agree with them. We're anti-science, or we're xenophobic, or who knows what they're going to call you if you don't agree with this thing, or what's coming into your kids' either classroom, or what's going to replace your kid's instructor. That thing could very well replace a guidance counselor or a psychologist. And who knows what else, and who owns this information? Who gives that thing the instructions? Who's behind it? So I just want to say hello to Derek C. Williams. Thank you so much, Derek C. Williams, for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to read a couple of comments as I'm going backwards here. I said, come on, Reed Unstoppable. So glad to see you, friend. Says there is an AI singing competition that is on Fox right now. Wow. Interesting. And Reasonability says there goes real friends and social experiences with other humans. Yes, because for, maybe according to Outnumbered, they'll just, they'll just start sending out robots to tell us, how we can be more intelligent, if we don't want mocktails, and, if we don't pick their candidates for voting, who knows? I'm just saying this thing is, I think it's going to run hot fast. And Derek C. Williams is here, and he says, relax mode, late to the party, listening live. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming in, Derek C. Williams. I really appreciate it. And let's see, what else do we have? Latin Patriot says, Touched by an Angel show was sweet and gave hope. Good old days, better of TV. And Todd Baker says, liberals will embrace this until they lose their teaching jobs. Then they will cry about after they voted for it. I exactly. And then Todd Baker says, and then they will blame it on Trump. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Because after all, I never did follow up on that story from the border. I'm just thinking, but I did say the only conclusion that I think that I was pretty solid, that I was pretty, confident about was the fact that they're using people from Haiti. They're using people from South America, whether it's Bogota or it just doesn't matter. They're using them for their photo ops. And we won't ever really know exactly what goes on down there. We won't, unless you actually go down there. And then you have some YouTubers that have actually been down there. They go down there and risk, their lives or their safety to go down there to see what's actually going on. But of course, but then they bring out the Maxine Waters and the Al Sharptons to we're damn mad, we're angry. Of course you are, so that's what they do. And I guess that's just what they do. So I guess that's the only update that I'm kind of short on, but I do think there's some biased things going on, and who knows what's going to happen. Who knows who will replace us in the work market, in the markets. Because like I said, they create crises, they create work shortages, they create depressions, they create everything. And then they've already got the solution. So you've got, who else is going to come in? Next thing you know, they'll have, maybe they'll use the robots to teach the kids. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so we basically kind of covered a couple of AI segments here in different sectors. And then we talked about what the New York governor is going to do in order to remedy the crisis that she's contributed to. So, there'll be more where that came from. Of course it will be. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to do a quick little break, come back, and I'll give you a salute, and we will say so long on this Wednesday night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, so oh my gosh, Latin Patriot. She says, I think you should start wearing costumes like the apron in my picture, or a big fluffy dress. Well, yeah, we'll see. This scenery is going to change here very shortly, so then it won't be appropriate anymore. But I could, we'll see. It's almost October. Todd Baker says, God delivered us the vax. Oops, I almost said it. The mocktail. Was she calling Trump God? That's just, it's just way too much, too cringe there. Derek C. Williams says Elon Musk and the future of man. You won't be needed. He talked about a few weeks ago here. Ooh, thank you for that so much. Well, and then that's right on, Derek C. Williams, and that's kind of like when I kind of go back to the We Forum as well as Air Schwab, and when he talks about changing what it means to be, challenging what it means to be human, and this fourth industrial revolution. And in that preface, he kind of goes through all the industrial revolutions before this one, in how, merging man with machine and the whole bit. So I think this is going exactly as they planned. I don't think that there's anything that's off. I do think that a lot of things that came through legislation, there were some hidden things in there that makes it possible for people to come into this country, and whether it work and they have all these social protections because nobody reads anything. And I talked about that on that USMCA, and it offered tons of social protections, not just for whether you want to call them illegals, what are we calling them these days? Whatever you want to call them, it offered all kinds of protections in that regard. So who knows what we're going to see? And she won't be, Hochul won't be the only one that will do that. I expect, California will do it, and many others. And for all that they can't get in those states, they'll figure out a way to infiltrate the others, because that's what they're doing with this whole border situation. All right. So hello, Rachel Van Ziel. It's nice to see you. She says, which God? And who else do we have? And Rachel Van Ziel says, AI is God to some, even have temples. That's interesting, Rachel Van Ziel. So yeah, so I guess, I don't know, you might be find out what's going on in the curriculum at these schools, for those of you that still have, in school learning, in classroom learning, and even what they're doing, even with the virtual stuff. Yeah, I have no idea. But thank you guys so much. And thank you so much, Rachel Van Ziel, for coming in. It's nice to see you here. And I just want to say salute to everyone. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I think we've been conditioned for just about everything that, that's coming out. Yeah. So I want to say salute to Tyrant Spain TDOA, and thank you so much for all that you do to support the channel and for being around. And like I said, the last stream that I was on, I want to say thank you to you guys who have supported the channel, throughout this entire time. Like, it's going on, we're getting into some time here that we've kind of weathered some censorship or whatnot, dare I say. Knock on wood there. And Anarchy Television, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you for being around. Thank you, Jermaine G. Thank you so much for coming in. Todd Baker, thank you. Fancy Truth and Mad Militant. So is Mad Militant? I wasn't clear. Do you have a new channel? I'll dig in after this is done, but I just want to make sure I'm picking up what you're putting down there. And Kimone Reed Unstoppable, thank you so much, Kimone Reed Unstoppable, and John H. Roberts over on Twitch. So for our friends over on Twitch, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Risen Ability, thank you. And Derek C. Williams, thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting the channel and for being around as long as you have. Because, I've had some acquaintances around here for a long time. And I appreciate you guys for being here, for sincerely being here. Thank you so much. And OSY Gaming, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And Lad Patriot, I will consider... Yeah, costumes can be fun. Costumes can be fun for sure. Okay, so it looks like that's pretty much okay. So this is your new channel, the House of Madness. That's your new channel. Okay, thank you so much for that. I will make a note to self, and I'll check it out for sure. All right, guys. Well, of course, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next live stream in the comment section on a video. One of these real unders, or of course a moonlight stream. I haven't done one of those in a while, so maybe we'll do one of those. And Derek C. Williams says, coming up on knowing you 2 years. Yes, that's exactly what I'm on about there. It's been a while, so I appreciate it. And Derek C. Williams, we look forward to seeing you back on the reels. We do. I'm sincere when I say that. We look forward to seeing you back on the reels. And yeah, I mean, we'll stay until the wheels fall off, as they say. So appreciate it. So you guys have a great rest of your evening, and we are coming in under an hour here. All right, guys, have a good rest of your night. Wednesday. Yeah. All right, guys.